Welcome back to America's Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. This segment is brought to you by thenewsfunnel.com. If you're doing anything in commercial real estate, do check them out. Well, today we're talking about social media for business. And of course, one of the social media sites that's a really popular business is LinkedIn. And we have Vivica Van Rosen. She's a co-founder with Vingresso, and she is on Skype with us. And I want to ask you about some of the tools and applications and some of the resources that might work well with LinkedIn, because sometimes LinkedIn, I guess, has a lot of great tools, but are there some apps that we might want to consider to help us with more efficiency?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as much as I love LinkedIn, it's not in and of itself a CRM or a customer relationship management tool. And so, most commercial realtors have, or most people in commercial real estate have some way of managing their audience already, of managing their clients, their prospects already. So being able to integrate LinkedIn with your CRM system is very powerful. Now, LinkedIn has put up some walls. So the API is a little bit closed, so it's much harder to get the information out of LinkedIn and into your CRM, whether that's Outlook or Salesforce or Nimble or Zoho or any one of the hundreds of CRM systems out there. One tool that I particularly like is called Nimble. It's Nimble. And actually, interestingly enough, they're a gold partner with Microsoft, and they've been embedded into the Microsoft Outlook program. And yet there's still kind of a gray area there between Nimble and LinkedIn. Even though Microsoft owns LinkedIn. So this allows you, the thing I like about Nimble is it allows you to pull information, not just from LinkedIn, but truly from anywhere online, from Twitter, from Facebook, from Instagram, from a news article you might be reading or a blog post. It allows you to pull in information. It'll actually search for contact information, and then you can either export it into your existing CRM system, or Nimble itself is a social CRM system, so it will allow you to then manage your network. Because I think one of the problems with LinkedIn, and this is especially true if you've got a larger network of connections, people who've invited you or you've invited them to connect, if you've got too many, you start to lose people, right? If you've got 5 people, you can keep track of them. If you've got 500 or 5,000 or 15,000, it's much harder to keep track of those prospects that might be in your database. And so having a third-party app that allows you to manage those, keep in touch with them, maybe even invite them. You never want to put them, but invite them to be part of an automated email drip system. I mean, so there's a lot of opportunity there, but managing that network is absolutely key. So that's where I particularly like nimble.com, but there are many, many other CRM systems out there. So that's one tool that I really like. Another tool is called Dux-Soup. It's Dux-Soup. It's a Chrome extension, and it simply allows you within LinkedIn to tag and take notes. So it allows you within LinkedIn to kind of manage your network and keep track of your network. And if you're calling on a prospect, you can actually pull up the app and take notes right within LinkedIn itself, so that when you go back to their profile, you have a record of maybe your communications, like what we used to do, writing on the back of a business card.
Right. How do you spell that again? D-U-X?
D-U-X-S-O-U-P, Dux-Soup. Weird name, I know.
Okay.
And it's a Chrome extension, so you have to use Chrome in order to use it. And then Nimble works with anything, any browser. Okay. Another tool that I like, and again, it's the one I use is a Chrome extension again, but there's various other apps and extensions out there that people can use, but it's a text expander. So that literally if I'm going through my inbox on LinkedIn and I have people who've invited me to connect, or I have people who've messaged me, with a couple keystrokes, I can respond to them, send them a whole message, and then move on to the next person and on to the next person and on to the next person. So if you are managing your engagement through social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, yourself, and you don't have a support person to help you with that, it's an enormous time saver. So that one is Text Expander. And there's many different versions of it if you're not a Chrome user. But those are probably 3 tools I use all the time. There's some good automation tools out there like Linked Helper, and LinMonster's another one. The problem with automation tools is they totally go against LinkedIn's end user agreement. So if you get caught using them, you could very well get your profile either deleted or at the very least, put on hold for a while. So just be careful if you're looking at any of those tools. But Dux-Soup, just as far as tagging and taking notes, Nimble as far as an external CRM system, and Text Expander as far as just being able to, in a couple keystrokes, get information out there, messages out there. Those are 3 tools that I use every day.
Okay, well, those are great tips. And you mentioned whether you're using you're doing social media yourself, or maybe you're outsourcing. So when should a user or a company consider taking it in-house and hiring somebody, or just relying on existing employees, or maybe outsourcing it? How do you know when to do that, or if you should?
Well, I'm always a fan of teaching people how to fish, right? So if you can get your employees to do their own social media, awesome. Now that rarely happens, right? So the next step then, beyond, just training them and giving them the right information and crossing your fingers and maybe gamifying it, incentivizing it somehow. So if that doesn't work, then your other options are hiring someone to do it in-house, or getting a contracted company to do it. I'm a fan of hiring someone in-house, just because if you're hiring a company, and now, with the exception of there are several social media companies in the real estate industry, so at least they'll know what your points of pain are and what you want to talk about and what types of content you want to share. So if you can outsource to a company like that who's definitely focused on the real estate world, awesome. It might still be cheaper to bring someone in-house who can not only help the company with its presence and its engagement, and that starts to become a customer success position as much as it is a social media, person. And then there's tools out there. One that my company uses is called Everyone Social, and it's basically employee amplification. So once you get your employees to have a good profile, and again, that's something our company does, right? Or there's a lot of other people who can help your employees get a good profile. Once the profiles are good, you want them sharing and disseminating that content to amplify your brand across, in our case, it's LinkedIn and Twitter that we use specifically. So you want to amplify your brand by using your employees' profiles with their permission, and Everyone Social allows you to basically automate that process. So that content is going out and it's getting significantly more visibility, which then drives more inbound leads to your sales team. So it's very powerful, and I think probably a little bit more cost effective. But if you're going to hire someone to do social, just know that they're going to probably need to take on some additional roles as well.
Okay. And Everyone Social, is that an application that maybe LinkedIn might not like or go against their rules? So Everyone Social, Gagalamp, and then LinkedIn has its own tool called LinkedIn Elevate. Those are okay because those you're just sharing information. So where LinkedIn pushes back is when you're going in and you're sending private messages. It's basically when LinkedIn pushes back when it's private engagement that's being created or automated for public sharing of updates, videos, etc. They're actually okay with that, and that's Elevate works, and Elevate and Gagalamp and Everyone Social work with all of the social media sites. And then there's things more affordable like Hootsuite that will allow you to schedule your posts. We've actually got our own tool called Heroic Social that will allow you to do that. So there are definitely apps out there that you can use to make your content dissemination a little bit easier. Yeah, well, that's good. So what is new in LinkedIn that maybe we should think about?
Yeah, LinkedIn is in actually literally in the process of rolling out a new user interface, or a new profile look, I guess is more appropriate. But the background images have changed a little bit, so very similar to what you see here, right?
Mhm.
This is literally my skip and repeat. But on LinkedIn, you've got kind of a virtual skip and repeat, or a virtual background, very similar to well, the header on your website. And so they've just changed that. And that's one thing that companies can easily do to brand their employees, is offer them a couple different options of those background images to upload. And it really helps to brand the company. And then even if the employee decides not to choose one that the company has made, it's good to have something out there to kind of differentiate you from everybody else. So the background image is new. And the layout of the well, I'd call it above the fold, the above part of LinkedIn, the introduction area of LinkedIn, that's changed a little bit. There's something called a summary section, which, if people even make use of it, it usually looks like a resume, like your goals. But in fact, this is an opportunity. It's a sales opportunity, really, to let your audience know, kind of who you are, what you do, but most importantly, how you can help them. Right. And so that's been expanded a little bit, so you can see a little bit more of that. So you can really address your customer's point of pain, because usually, our customers have very, very similar points of pain, whether it's finding the right space, the right affordable space in a rapidly growing area, or whether it's trying to make your space enticing in an area that's maybe not so interesting yet. So there's usually a similar point of pain, and you can address that with that summary section. And then finally, you can add media to it. So if you've got a PDF, a video, you've got images, you've got white sheets, you've got any kind of resources that you have on your website, or that you give to clients or prospects, you can upload those directly into LinkedIn. So just those few things they've been there for like 3 years, but LinkedIn's shifting the look of it and making them more impactful now, I guess is a good way of saying that. Also new is video, native video. So you've always been able to share a link to, say, YouTube, but what you've probably seen is more people doing video on LinkedIn. You've probably seen it on your timeline, and it's very, very powerful. Having said that, not everyone, we talked about this a little bit earlier, not everyone has the face for video. They might have the voice for radio, but not the face for video.
Yeah, I have a face for radio myself.
You also have the face for video, but you just have to be comfortable with the lens, right? And so if you are going to be extremely uncomfortable doing video, it's not going to help you or your company. If you're comfortable in front of a camera, then absolutely, let's continue to build your brand and visibility by using that native video feature. Okay,
Vivica, what would be your final tip for our audience related to social media for business?
I think it's all about education. The way to get buy-in from your employees is to help them understand that in the buyer's journey, our buyers are researching us. They're far more informed about us than we are about them anymore, right? And so we need to make sure that we are creating the presence and offering the content so that no matter where our buyers are, where our prospects are in their journey from deciding to rent a location to, signing the paperwork, that we are in front of them, that we are a resource. The hard sell doesn't work anymore. The used car sales guy attitude, that just doesn't work anymore. We need to become a resource. And so educating our employees on how to use their profiles and changing them from a resume to a resource, right? How to use information and disseminate that information to create greater visibility. That's what we need to do, is educate, 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 and then we need to actually provide the resources for them.
Yeah, great tip. Vivica, great information. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Absolutely, my pleasure.
And if you'd like to connect with Vivica or myself on LinkedIn, visit creshow.com. And if it's this week, it's our current show. And if it's later, just in the search engine, type in social media for business. Our LinkedIn connections will be there. And stay tuned. We're going to have more on social media for business. I'm Michael Bull. This is America's Commercial Real Estate Show.